Hello and welcome to my new updated Ice Nova build. I managed to push this build a little bit farther, so I figured I'd make a new video. So for this, I'm just gonna go straight into the skills here and just hover over these. I don't think you need this, but it's just kind of nice. And notice how mine says 9 or 7% and +2, so I'm getting 9%. You might be getting 8%. If you get enough skill, the 8% becomes 9%. And blink is still on when I switch. Low level skill gem. This is just for bosses. So why do I have it like this? Well, so we're inflicting lightning exposure. We want to make sure that we shock to get that lightning exposure. We're increasing the exposure applied. And we're also increasing the exposure here. So a lot of exposure, and we're also decreasing lightning resist from here, plus other areas. So this basically makes you crit a bunch, which chains your cast on crits on bosses, and you decrease the lightning resistance of bosses into the negatives. I'm pretty sure. Nice, Nova. Pretty much the same stuff, except instead of 130 whatever, I'm doing 182,000 now. Oh, gotta love that, just getting kicked out of Path of Exile. I ain't even gonna edit that out of the video. No, this is just how Path of Exile plays. Okay. So Ice Nova, Blasphemy, Conductivity. I don't even know if these really are doing anything, these last four, but it feels good putting them in there. Cast on crit, Comet, so this is kind of like a it's going to happen a lot because of these two support gems. It's going to trigger frequently, as well as trigger twice and more damage. So this is kind of like a laser nuke specific target and destroy it. Cast on crit, another Comet, lots of elemental damage, penetrate lightning resist, and catch 3 of them. So with the penetrate lightning resist I have from this chain is 30%, and then 30% here, and then 36% here. That's basically, this basically hits with -100 to lightning resist, and then you get the lightning exposure, and you get the increased exposure effect from this and this. So these two together, when you're triggering on bosses, just does a ridiculous amount of damage. And I forgot to show the skellies for anyone new. I get the skellies from my scepter. So if I do soul offering from my skellies, my Ice Nova damage goes up to 300,000. And I have this staff that I switched to for Sigil of Power. And I can basically Sigil of Power, do this, and then crash my game. Because Path of Exile is amazing. Yeah, not even gonna edit this out either. Okay. Hopefully that stops. So, with Ice Nova, damage goes up pretty high. Can hit like 500,000 at some points just with Ice Nova. Now this is just your mob clearing spell. This is not your boss clearing spell. So if you are going versus bosses, you're primarily just gonna throw this, because this just how this interacts is just ridiculous. It casts these comets, which are your boss killers, a stupid amount. So to just kind of go over this guy, which only gets concentrator effect. I just put my comet here and then do that. So this comet does 473,000, but this 776,000. And that's just this comet getting a bonus from this one support gem, which is pretty good considering these cast like a million in 1 second. It's kind of funny. This one too. So 422,000. So 300,000, but there's 3 of them. So yeah, you get the point. The comets are your main boss damage. Oops. So with that being said, I'll show my character skill chart. This is fine. And the chaos resistance I don't have to worry about because of this. Items. Pretty much the same as the last. I might have like something here and there that's different, I don't know. So I did change this Anoint to Hunter's Talisman for the extra charm slot, so I have 2 now. It's because I was dying to being frozen sometimes. I was getting kind of sick of it. So a little more defensive, but I still do a lot of damage. This guy. And then I'll just kind of show my Ice Nova DPS and just take items off and just show you how much it affects my DPS. And then this guy comes in, which increases DPS, so it's kind of weird to do it this way, but the amulet really doesn't give me that much DPS. That's just a stat I'm missing like strength to use something, I think. hope that helps. Just knowing like what items to go for. Because it does take a while to get to this DPS. It's hard. You really do need Archmage. If you don't use Archmage, all your damage is gone. 30,000 to 40,000. 273. All of your damage is lightning damage. Comes from this. So, you want all decrease to lightning resist to enemies and stuff, and you basically just don't want anything that does minus to cold resist, because there's no point. Alright. So with that, let's get into the passive skill tree. I did change this quite a bit. I'll get into that. Oh, Ascendancy. Here we are. Raw power. Critical overload. This is basically like a mini this guy, so that's just why I'm not using this anymore, and I don't need the penetration to resists anymore, so this is kind of pointless. So I got this guy. Mana Blessing. Going up instead of down before for the extra critical spell damage bonus. Left here, get this gem. Jewel. I go for critical hit chance, area effect, and elemental damage. Those are pretty good for this build. I'll actually get to that in a sec. Might no matter. So this whole thing here is just area effect. So I got this jewel, increases small passive skills and radius, also gives the larger nodes 4% increased area effect. So I get 12 from the larger nodes, and then I get, 2, 4, 6, 12 from the small nodes. So there's 24% more area effect just by putting this jewel here. As well as it gives me damage here. Let's go to the... This guy is allocated by this guy? Royal. Got it. Specifically just for Royal for the extra area effect. This doesn't matter. You could get a jewel with more. Like, I don't know if you could find Royal and Pure Power, but that would be amazing, or something along the lines of that. This jewel. Controlled Metamorphosis. I just grab Eldritch Battery and Arcane Intensity. This is a big one. You need a lot of mana. And get this guy. That's going to increase your damage a lot. This is another one of those things. It's like you need this to do a lot of damage. See, if I take this off,
new realm of power.
Well, look at my damage. 143,000. I lose a lot of damage by not having that. So that one passive point gives me a lot of damage. Okay. Yeah. So you go up here. To up here power. And then again, this is for the penetration and the increased lightning exposure effect. Go up this way. Crit chance. Go down here. This jewel is very important for damage as well. You need this. Or something along the lines of it. You can get a +1 to level Ice Nova skills for pretty cheap. And then immune to chaos. This guy. Come down here. this jewel. I recommend getting a few jewels with recover mana on kill. It's very helpful. Go in here for more lightning damage. Here for Throat Seeker. And then just down here for the jewel. Go down here, just for the jewel. Go down here. This is pretty important. This gives you reduced mana cost, about 16% total. Some mana regen as well. Up here, just getting a lot of these. This jewel increased 1% to maximum mana for the small jewels, or for the small nodes. So I'm getting a bunch of mana from these nodes, as well as 4% extra cold damage, and that's just because I wanted the 1% to maximum, the maximum mana. I didn't really care about the cold damage, I just wanted the mana, and this jewel's pretty cheap this way. You can go for the 1% mana and 4% int, and that would be better. But that one's just way too expensive. Okay. So I think that's everything. I'll just give an overview. Okay. So I did this, did that. Items. With this build, you need this potion. Without it, you'll die. As well as you want really large area AoE for like mapping and stuff. You won't die if your AoE is large enough, basically. This might be a bit mana intensive if you're not using the potion, so don't do double cast on crit if you don't have this mana flask. I don't recommend it. All my spirit basically comes from this. It allows me to do stuff. If you want more spirit, you can't get something like this. I think I have a. Yeah, get one of these, but have it say like spirit and maybe maximum mana. One of those. Yeah, that's about it. I was also experimenting with Bone Cage. You can put Bone Cage here instead. And it's actually not bad. It does 10,000 damage more than Ice Nova at a fraction of the cost. So it does 81, it costs 81 mana. Where Ice Nova costs like 200 something, like 228. But this does 10,000 more damage. The only downside to it is the radius is smaller. So you could throw an Ice Nova in here if you wanted to. You could throw a Bone Cage in here if you wanted to. Hell, you could throw 2 Bone Cages in here if you wanted to. Or you can just do what I'm doing now, which is just double Comet. Double Comet just destroys everything. It's overkill on maps, but I mean, it destroys bosses. It just absolutely destroys bosses, which is nice. And you might have noticed I have a Breachstone in my inventory, perhaps. That's because I was going to show versus Xeshty tier 4. Go to passive. Oh wait, no, not that one. Atlas tree. So yes, tier 4 Xeshty.
Didn't break a sweat. Lunarized blade.
So when playing this build, you kind of do have to just pay attention to your mana. If you do that, you'll be fine. It's really not that bad. That's why I have this open right now.
We that dreamed, we in nightmare, we that are one,
Out of mana. Out of mana.
we that fail.
There is power in this object. I can feel it.
Figure we could go to, oh, I might actually grab that. I've been putting off upgrading my staff because it's only an 18 sigil of power, and this is a level 19, so I'll just, yeah, I'll just use that later. Figured I'd just throw in like a map or some shit. What am I doing? Something that's just aids. 50% monster elemental. I kind of want to get something like that. I have a bunch of garbo here. Screw it, we'll just do this. Nah, we won't do that one. Let's just do like the 50%. Resist. This one. 70%, 75% less effective curses on monsters. Like this, actually, this sucks. So we're gonna use that one. And we'll put it in a +2 monster level and do rituals. And then kind of wish this was a T16, but yeah, whatever. We'll just go.
Fight back! Die! Forgotten!
Alright, something happened to this guy, didn't it? Yep. This happens sometimes when you swap to your staff and you can't teleport. So you just have to go back and fix it. So, swap to my staff. Looks like Archmage is activated, so I'm just gonna go here and then just make it only activate on my main hand. Now Blink has enough spirit to be used. So, that's fixed. Oh, booby. Mister, why aren't you picking up all that loot? I really don't care.
Didn't break a sweat.
I can just like hear someone in the background. Pick up the waystone! No, I don't want to.
Feel the chill!
No, I will pick that sapphire up though. Me want that.
I can't do that yet.
Okay, fine, I'll pick it up. Oh, derp. Got to pull the lever. So even with 75% weaker curses and 50% more monster elemental resistances,
Die!
that's pretty
Forgotten!
easy. And in full parties, I still pretty much one-shot everything. But yeah, that's my Ice Nova build. Yeah! Goodbye!